Good morning. Everyone can hear me. Great stuff. Hello, welcome. I am Steph Kershaw, and I'm a channel sales manager for Magento, and I look after a select group of our solution partners across EMEA. I've been with Magento for the last 2 years, but I've been in and around the e-commerce space and Magento space for the last 5 years. So today I'm here to talk to you about what we see globally in terms of when it comes to experience-driven commerce. And why do I want to talk to you about that today? Well, the reason to talk about this today is because when we speak to retailers, this picture kind of personifies how the retail world's feeling at the moment. You know, it feels like it's doom and gloom. You know, retail's dying, and we're hearing this a lot. And then, you know, you're seeing it with the closure of stores. But you know, for us, it's not all doom and gloom. It's just things are changing. And today, what we're going to talk about is what we see as the way that brands need to look at the world, because our shopping habits have changed. We shop differently, so therefore the brands need to run with the times with us. So for us and how we talk to customers, it's all around winning the customer journey. It's all about you know, owning the customer journey end to end and making sure that every touch point with your brand is inspiring for your consumers. So it's not all doom and gloom, you know, it's just about tweaking what you do. And through this presentation, I'm going to go through several brands that have disrupting the way that they're doing things, they're disrupting the market, a little bit of an insight to what's coming. So there's stuff going on over the pond in America that's going to start coming through to Europe, and we need to start thinking about that to be able to own the customer journey. It's becoming more complex. It's already complex, owning the customer journey end to end, and it's becoming more complex with the more that technology that expands. We've got new technologies popping up all over the place, and you in the room as merchants are expected to adopt them quickly and deliver exceptional service all the time. So it's a challenge. But it's all around digital transformation. Digital transformation is key, and everyone needs to be thinking about it. You know, that's how you're going to win the customer journey. Your brand needs to be relevant 24/7. It needs to be completely digitally enhanced. You know, your consumers don't care if it's midnight, if it's the morning, if they're on the train, if they're at home, if they're on a desktop, if they're working off a tablet. They don't care. They want to see the same experience and not feel like they're looking at different devices, or they're in store or online. Don't know if people know the name Brian Chesky in the room, but he is the CEO, founder of Airbnb. And as you're aware, Airbnb, they've completely disrupted the hotel market. They are one of the leading hotel providers globally, and they don't own a single hotel. And his ethos and what he built this on was around starting with the perfect experience and then work backwards, and that's how you'll be successful. Tesla, someone else who's owning the customer journey. Anyone in the audience have a Tesla? No? Anyone want a Tesla? Yeah. How amazing, the brand Tesla. You've got customers who, through the content that Tesla deliver, the stories they tell, the YouTube videos, how rich the content is, people are going to put down money on a Tesla with a quick test drive, and the product's not even going to be available. But the way that the excitement of that the brand delivers content, people are already excited about owning and wanting a Tesla before they've even got in the car. And as my director would say, show Ferrari owners how fast the family car really can be. So it's amazing what Tesla's doing, and it's content. Content is key. It's content that's delivering the excitement. It's inspiring the people that are looking at Tesla. Obviously, Tesla is super technical in terms of what they offer in the car, so it's kind of a gadget as well that makes it exciting. But they're a real good example of how they've owned the journey, and they really get their customers bought into their brand. The experience is the brand. So delivering experience is key. We take actions based on experiences. We're all consumers in the room as well as merchants and retailers. We buy based on how we feel. There's brands out there that I love buying from. It doesn't matter if I go into store, if I buy online, brands like Jo Malone. It doesn't matter if I go into store or buy online, I still get the funny feeling when the box arrives with the ribbon, it smells good. All brands need to be thinking like that on how you deliver that experience, whether you're walking in store or buying online. It's hard because sometimes when you buy online, it's getting that perfect delivery and brand across. But Jo Malone, they do it really well. Mulberry do it really well. You still get your Mulberry bag in a beautiful green Mulberry bag, which makes you feel funny inside if you like Mulberry like I do, a girl. It's all about that. The experience is the brand, and some brands are doing it really well. I was skeptical of whether losing the in-store experience when you buy expensive products. But if they do it right online and they follow through with the brand, then the online experience is just as good as going in store. So, I've mentioned content is king. Highly curated and personalised experiences are what are disrupting the market, and I'm going to talk about some brands next that have really taken highly curated content and disrupted full markets, completely disrupted markets. It's thought that by 2020 that basically product and price won't matter to people. It will solely be experiences. So I'm going to say the word experience quite a lot, so I apologise in advance, but it really is serious because people aren't going to look at product and price anymore. They'll buy based on how they feel. And with all the technology that's out there helping brands be disruptive and make people feel a certain way to get them to buy, it means that it's even more important. So, disruptive brands are rewriting the D2C playbook. So who would have thought that people would be buying mattresses online? Normally, you're in an awkward showroom, you're lying on the mattress. Is it right? Is it not? They're bulky. People won't think, I'm going to buy a mattress online, it's going to be delivered and it's going to be easy. But there's brands out there like Tomorrow's Sleep who are basically disrupting the way the people buy mattresses. They can have a mattress to you the next day. It comes packaged so that you can carry it upstairs, and on their website, the content, they make it so easy. Obviously, it's in some terms, it's quite easy. It's a singular product, but the content is what you need to know about a mattress. They give you a guarantee, so you can take the mattress, 90-day guarantee, so there's no stress of making a decision there and then, because you're like, well, if it doesn't feel right or look good, I can just send it back and it's going to arrive to me in the post tomorrow. So it's that thought of it's not a stressful purchase process to buy a mattress, whereas typically buying a mattress it's a bit stressful and it's awkward and you wouldn't think to do it online. And these brands are doing it now. They're disrupting the way that people are buying products, and other brands in that industry need to start thinking the same way because they're losing out to these disruptive brands. Shoppable content. I'm guessing many people in the room have Pinterest boards and things like that. Shoppable content's coming. We've got brands like Who's. They're a massive housing platform. They've got over 20,000 products, about 10 million views, and they're making shoppable content real. So basically, you see the content, you can buy it there and then. Pinterest aren't doing it yet. It's likely to come. So when you see, I'm not a Pinterest user because I see things I want and I can't buy them, and that frustrates me. I'm not very creative. I don't want to make them and go and find the products myself. I want to buy what I've seen. This is coming, and you've got brands like Graham and Green who have taken it to the next level, and they're using virtual 3D apps. So Graham and Green, you can sit in your lounge, you can look at your wall, and you can pick wallpapers while sat in your lounge and see them on your wall and see what they actually look like before you buy them, disrupting the way that you start buying wallpaper and giving that extra level of experience. So you can, see your lounge, new or whichever room in the house, newly decorated through your phone. these are the sorts of things that we're seeing happen, and it's an experience. It's gimmicky because it's new, but give it another 12 to 18 months, and that'll be how we all want to buy things. We'll want to be able to see what it looks like without having to go into a store or without having to put a little square of paper up and think, will that look all right on the whole wall? It's how we'll start buying in the next 18 months. Now it's a cool little app, but it's going to be the norm. Subscription. We've got brands out there using technology that's available that are completely disrupting the subscription model. So, Guys for Shaving, Dollar Shave, completely disrupted taking the hassle out of thinking about shaving products. They have a subscription model. You don't need to think about when you need a new razors or whatever it is that you need. They do it all for you. And people like Gillette are looking at this thinking we need to do the same, because it takes the hassle out of having to think about when you need razors. And Birchbox have started to do the same, adopt the subscription. Grey's subscription model, they were really early into it, but it's just taking the thought out of buying. It's all about it being unconscious, not having to purchase and worry about things that you need every day, every week, every month. And these brands are doing it. And what's coming next in the US, if you see the shoe at the bottom, Under Armour. So that shoe actually has sensors on the bottom, and what they're doing there is, apart from collecting crazy amounts of data, don't know how I feel about that, that is to basically, they can tell when the shoe's getting worn, so they can understand when you need your next pair of trainers, and they can start feeding you content and basically putting trainers in front of you, so that when you've had your Under Armour trainer, you're then not going to Nike to look for your next trainer, because they're taking the hassle out of finding the next trainer, because they know when your trainers are wearing thin, and they're going to basically start delivering content for you to think about your next pair of trainers. That's already happening in the US. So it's really that these brands disrupting how we buy, and taking kind of the decision and the research out of some of the products that you need on a regular basis. Fast and frictionless. I'm sure you hear this all the time. And when we talk about this, we talk about it in the way of like the Uberification of commerce. Love or hate Uber, and I travel and I work across many countries, and Uber's not always liked. But the concept is, when you get into Uber, you forget you're paying for things. You forget that you've actually transacted. You don't feel like you're transacting. And how can brands have that effect when people are making conscious decisions to buy? How can we Uberify what the purchase, so that people don't feel like they're buying? Because that's the hard part. It's the call to action. So if you can make the call to action feel so unconscious it's not happened, then you've got that bit, and then you carry on with your post-purchase experiences and things like that. And we're going to come on to it, but this is the sort of things that like Apple Pay are trying to do, making it really easy. But we expect, again, we're all consumers in the room, the easier it is to purchase, the more likely we're going to purchase. I know I do it myself. If I get to a page and they want too much information, or I can't log into PayPal or Apple Pay, I will click off and think, you know what, I'm in a rush and it's not right time to buy now. They've lost me as a customer. If it was Apple Pay, literally probably 10 times out of 10 for me, if Apple Pay is available and I can just click my button and literally show my face and it's bought, I'll do it. If I have to fill in anything, it annoys me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room. So it's thinking about, okay, well, that's how I feel as a consumer, that's how my consumers are feeling, so what do we need to do to kind of Uberify the checkout? And not only that, we're going to talk about it more, but with the technology, like the subscription models and Amazon and Alexa, and I'm going to come on to that a bit more further in the presentation, more and more brands are taking kind of regular transactions off our minds and just doing it for us. So again, it's an unconsidered purchase. So we've got to think about that as well, and how frictionless that is. Because again, maybe now it feels a bit weird that maybe Alexa's going to order your milk, but 2 years' time, that's going to be how we shop. So it's about kind of getting ahead of the curve, and I don't know, maybe robots were doing it 2 years after that, who knows, but it's all coming. Progressive web apps. Don't know, anyone in the room using progressive web apps in their brands? No, not yet. So this is something we talk about a lot, because gone are the days where we're going to have lots of apps on our phone, and in related to experience, what progressive web app does is it basically gives that native web native app feel, on a web page. And you know how good apps are because, you know, they're quicker than the internet. Like when you're in an app, it's easier than when you go to the homepage. The Amazon app, even though Amazon are amazing, the app is easier to use than the website. So what brands are doing now with progressive web apps is the website is the app. And this is enabling brands to deliver amazing end-to-end experiences. It helps because delivering content in an app-based way helps with the experience because apps, if you're using an app versus the website, normally the app's preferred. So actually having that native on the mobile site and it looking and feeling like an app without having to download and go to App Store is changing the way people do things. I touched on this, and it's worth talking about in more detail. This is what I'm talking about when the frictionlessness. So Apple Pay is a really good example. Amazon Pay, everyone knows their Amazon login, and once you've logged in, you know your Amazon password, you can just purchase. PayPal, same thing. Most people know their PayPal password, and once you've filled it in, it's all populated. If you're not doing these sorts of things, because not everyone not everyone is, and it doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Things to think about are things around, auto-filling forms. Don't have your consumers filling out their address and things like that. We should know this detail, or, there's tools out there where you only have to type in maybe 3 letters of your address and it's picking it up and then it's auto-filled. So it's not always just thinking about the checkout and the technology behind that. It's thinking about how easy you can make it to fill out the forms because you need information to deliver. You want information about your customers, so you do want that. You can't, because then that's how you build on the customer journey. But how easy can you make it for the customer to give you their information? So thinking about autofill and things like that. Conversational commerce, it's real. It's coming. So, at the minute, I don't have an Alexa or product or anything, but people are ordering their groceries through Alexa, and it's changing the way that people are buying, and that's not just on Amazon. So at the minute, if you think about it, Alexa, I want, we'll go back to the razor example, a razor. Customers aren't going to say, I want a Gillette razor. So it's thinking about, okay, if you're asking Alexa for a product and it's not your brand, how are you going to deal with that? Because that's how people are going to buy. Alexa, I need a CD, or I don't know, there's many examples, but how, brands need to think about the way people are buying like that, how they get their products into the forefront, which you can do through, many ways. But this is coming, this is real. Again, like I said, it's gimmicky, and not everyone's going to do it, but there'll be a segment of your audience that wants to shop this way. It's going to become more popular. And now it's gone from being, Alexa, to voice technology. So even on radio adverts, it used to be Alexa, play Ariana Grande. They're not saying Alexa anymore because there's more than Alexa out there. So there's, it's worth thinking about. It's not just an Alexa piece, it's growing. And advertisements are changing the way they talk about it because it's not just one product that's offering it, and they can't really just back one product because there's many voiceover conversational commerce applications. This is happening in America. This is an Amazon store. So essentially, we're talking about frictionless checkout. Here, you walk in, you do your shopping, and you walk out, and it bills your Amazon account. Simple as that. It's all cameras and whatever it is, but you literally don't check out. You walk in, you shop, you walk out. That's happening in the US now. That's how retail it is going, we feel. You're walking in, it's unconscious, you're walking out. You can't get much more frictionless than that of a purchase, and it's hassle-free. And it's an experience. You think, wow, I've just walked out of all these products, but you're being billed to your Amazon account. That's already happening in the US. And these are the sorts of things that we need to start thinking about on the ground, because more brands are going to adopt this, and it's changing the way retail happens. Post-purchase, I've spoken a lot so far about how you get that call to action, the transaction, and how important it is about building that story, inspiring your customers, getting them to that point. The call to action needs to be really easy so that they don't feel like they're buying and you've won the customer, and that's just the beginning. I said earlier it's complicated. Well, it is, because post-purchase bliss is key. Now, for me, this starts at delivery, and then it's the whole journey after. So there's many brands out there, there's great delivery services in terms of your DHLs and things like that. And what brands are still missing a trick, because I've experienced it as a consumer, and I think, I can't believe they're doing this. So you go on, you've done all that great work with the experience, and you've got the call to action, and then you let DHL, for example, I'm not saying DHL's doing this, but it's just an example, you let DHL take over your delivery because they're a great service. They can deliver within 2 hours because that's what Amazon's driving, or deliver the same day delivery. So we've got that all to think about on how Amazon's driving the delivery expectations of all the consumers. And then basically you allow DHL to own that process. And what I mean by that is that then the brand has gone. So what's really important is, yes, use DHL, let them be best of breed of what they're doing, but ensure that you as the brand own that experience still. So the emails are branded. This content's still coming from the brand. It might be DHL delivering the service, but you need to make sure that your brand and touch points are still in those emails. Many brands today will just let DHL own the content and own the messaging of those, and you've lost that brand experience because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'm with DHL. I just bought off, I don't know, an example, they're not doing this, but an example would be, I've just bought off New Look, I'm now with DHL, and then maybe after post-purchase I'm back with New Look. It's about, I bought off New Look, okay, yeah, New Look are delivering my delivery, okay, and now I'm still with New Look post-purchase after my delivery. And it's a simple thing, but lots of brands still aren't doing it. I know, I shop online a lot, I know many brands that let the delivery take over the experience, and it's just simple, just having that content owned by the brand and making sure that brand feel still exists during delivery. And I touched on it, delivery is key because Amazon are driving 2-hour delivery. Argos have adopted that and are doing many things. How are brands in the room thinking about the delivery? Then what about if you're not in? What's convenient? No one waits in for a parcel these days. So it's thinking about how you can get your products delivered the way that Amazon's driving our expectations. Just a couple of stats here. I'm only going to touch on the top one. The biggest challenge for brands is faster shipping. 42% say that faster shipping is one of their biggest challenges. I don't know if people in the room, that's a challenge for you, but Amazon are driving this behaviour that we all want everything in 2 hours. I'm not quite there personally. But a lot of people are. You want things in 2 hours or on the same day. How do you keep up with that when you're not on Amazon, Delivery innovations. Amazon, again, sorry, I don't mean to talk about Amazon too much, but reality is they're driving behaviours. So they, in the US, they've got software now, a doorbell software that they purchased, and this is happening in the US now. They, with cameras and codes, can access consumers' houses, open the door, leave the parcel, and leave. No more need to be in. They're accessing people's properties. They've got a software that they're trialing out where they, with cars that have the right technology, where they're able to access the boot, open it, leave your parcel in the boot, close it. People in the US are having things delivered into their boot of their car when they're not with the car. This is already happening. And that takes everything out of delivery. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay, so you want to go shopping for the afternoon, but you want your parcel delivered. People in the US are having the parcels delivered while they're shopping. It's happening. I don't know when that's going to start coming over, but it's worth thinking about. They've bought the software. Amazon will be rolling it out. I think it's a weird concept, but it's happening already. I won't want anyone delivering my parcels when I'm not in. And I don't know what they do if you've got a dog, because I know that if someone tried to enter my property. So they haven't thought about it all, but they're doing it, and I'm sure they'll overcome some of the challenges, but you wouldn't be able to get into my house. But they've got the software. People are open to it. How many people in the room would be open to that, think it's normal, okay? Yeah, a couple? Okay. I bet you in 2 years we all think it's normal. It's crazy, because I think about stuff we do now and I thought that was weird 2 years ago, and now it's normal the way we buy. I never thought I'd be the sort of person that click off a website. I used to talk about it in hosting 5 years ago. If your site isn't quick, it takes longer than 3 seconds, you'll click off, and now I'm that person, and I never thought I would be. So it's just funny how you think, no, that's extreme, and then the next thing you are that person, and it is happening. we've talked about the brand, and that's why I've kind of gone through, the pre-journey, making it frictionless, the delivery, the post-purchase, and then the reason I've put this slide up again is because now we're going to go into, you've delivered it, what do you do afterwards with the customer? And again, it's all about the brand. The experience is the brand. So we are into kind of where Adobe and Magento fits. It's not a sales pitch or anything like that, but it's not a secret that Adobe was, and Magento was acquired by Adobe. And the reason we're so excited about this is because we're now able to talk about end-to-end experiences. So with the Adobe being part of the Adobe family, we're able to talk about the awareness piece, the search piece, where you're going, the discovery piece. And before Adobe acquired Magento, that this was the gap, the call to action. So they're doing everything else. Adobe deliver for their customers exceptional experiences. It is unbelievable. The technology and the things that they're doing for brands is unbelievable. It's stuff that you think isn't happening, and then you see that Adobe are doing it for brands, but they had that missing piece, and that was the commerce platform. And that's why they bought Magento, to be able to have the end-to-end journey, and they are delivering end-to-end solutions for customers. And these are just bits that you need to think about, your content at the beginning, personalization, visual are people using screens in their stores in the room? I'm not sure, but more and more brands are starting to use tablets. You're buying on a tablet in the store. I mean, you thought you went into store to pick up a dress and go to the till, but no, many brands now, you're using the tablet, so it's thinking about that screen experience. People aren't going and queuing at tills anymore. And then you've got the fulfillment piece, and then post, how do you support, so the ownership of the experience afterwards, and how you make sure that you keep the customers. We all know in the room that acquiring customers is more expensive and more difficult than it is to retain customers. So that post-purchase piece and the content, you can't forget about it once you've got the result of the first buy. You need to keep thinking about how you inspire and keep that story alive. Even if your products, you don't have regular buyers, you want loyalty, you want references and things like that. So the post-purchase is super important. So Adobe make everything personal, so they're all about making every experience personable, and now with the Magento piece, we want to make every experience shoppable, and this is why we're so excited about the future, because all we want to do is work with brands to basically achieve this, making everything personable and every moment shoppable, because that's where we're heading. Experience is everything. We're going to buy based on experience rather than product and price, regardless of what Amazon keep doing. And utopia here is that amazing, highly curated content with the Amazon efficiency. If you can get that as a brand, that's the Holy Grail. So because Amazon's great, but content-wise, they don't inspire people. It's not very inspiring. Yes, they might do related products and inspire you to upsell, but they're not an inspiring brand where they tell a story and you buy into a brand. It's different. But if you can get that highly curated content mixed with the efficiency of an Amazon, that's your Holy Grail. That's what you need to aim for. And it's not impossible, and it's not just big brands that can do that. We've already highlighted today, smaller brands are taking that idea and are disrupting the way that we're buying. And the bigger brands are thinking, oh no, what do we need to do? We need to now try and react to that. And the great example is the Dollar Shave versus Gillette. Gillette owned the razor industry, and Dollar Shave have just wiped it from under them by being innovative and focusing on that content and experience piece. Only a couple more things from me. A little quote from a scientist: the best way to predict the future is to invent it. Brands are doing it all the time. We speak to brands from startup all the way to the big boys. Just because we're a part of Adobe, we are still speaking to these innovative brands who are going from 1 to 10 to 25 million, disrupting verticals, because that's the way they're thinking. They're thinking like the Airbnb people of the world, the Uber people of the world. I mean, Uber and Airbnb, they don't own any hotels or taxis, and they're dominating both markets. It's just thinking about that. And that's everything from me. I'm open to questions, any that if you want to openly ask questions, or I'll be available for a little while after for any questions that you may have. And thank you very much.